What's up, guys? It's Steve over at Disney. I'm with my mom Esther today, and we're going to be talking to you about the best modes of transportation for getting to Walt Disney World.
So what do you think, Steve? When you were young, we've been a few times.
Yeah.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Sure. Yeah, we're taking them all.
Taking them all. And when you were young, we always drove. Always drove because your father was afraid to fly. His family was afraid to fly. I wanted to fly, but they scared me into flying, so that was it. I'd never fly again.
Yeah.
I was never going to fly again. So we drove.
So many times.
So many times. 1,315 miles each way.
And that's a long hike.
It's a long hike. So we drove, and sometimes the driving was too rough, and I'd look at your father and say, I'm not driving back. So we'd get on the auto train.
Right.
Get on the auto train.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think I was pregnant with your brother, and we decided, let's start flying. That was rough. Do you remember? I was crying and crying. I was pregnant, crying on the plane.
I probably blocked that from my memory.
The doctor said I could have I forget even what it was, like Dayquil or something like that to calm my nerves. Benadryl. It was Benadryl to calm my nerves. I had a little paper bottle, and I was drinking the Benadryl, and the stewardess was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm not okay." It was rough. We'll just say it was rough when you were young.
Yeah.
But somehow I got over it. Now.
Yeah, now you love to fly.
I fly all the time.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, you're like a jet setter now.
I am.
I know when I was young, I loved the drives down there. As I got older, we did start to fly more. I am still afraid of flying. I am terrified to fly. Heights freak me out.
Yeah, but I'm afraid of heights. You're not really, your feet are on the ground, you're strapped in, you're okay.
You know what the problem is? I understand how planes work. I don't believe they should. I get aerodynamics, to that degree, like lift and velocity, and the plane will come off the ground. I just don't believe it should work, so I don't trust the planes. When we're on takeoff, I'm like, it's 50-50, this thing's gonna get off the ground.
Oh my gosh, he takes after his father.
Yeah, a little bit neurotic when it comes to flying. But in this video, we want to tell you the three modes of transportation: flying, driving, and taking the train. And we want to break down some prices for you. You've prepared a lot of prices, and you've really broken this down. We want to tell you the best way to get there. If you're traveling from a serious distance, like we are from 1,315 miles away,
yes.
It's a hike, and it can get pricey if you don't do it right. So, without further ado, let's dive into the video. Get ready, because we're about to talk about how to get yourself to Disney and what that's going to cost you. Let's go.
So, we're talking about family of four, just like us,
Right.
going from New England to MCO. The flight's on, I timed it up, what did I do? April 24th through May 1st, because that's school vacation around here, right?
Right,
Spring vacation. To fly down nonstop Boston to MCO, those weeks, fly down, the lowest price I found you was $89, which isn't bad. I mean, right now, this month, I think we can get flights for $49, but $89 that week down. And I found flights back for $19.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say the airline. You can only imagine. But, you're paying for the seatbelt extra. But it's $19 if there's a seatbelt.
Right.
So.
As Coldplay used to say, it was all yellow.
So, if I'm feeling blue, it'll be $73 back.
We are not a paid promotion. I want to put that out there right now. We have not been paid to do this. But that's not bad.
That's not bad.
I mean...
So you're talking $650 round trip for a family of four to get there and back. School vacation week, and that's a good price. Right now, that's a good price.
Yeah, that's a really good price. It's a really...
and in 3.5 hours?
That's the biggest selling point for flying,
yes.
right? Is that it is a long drive. From New Hampshire, it's about a 24-hour
20
drive.
to 21, 24.
And then you have to take into account that it's New England,
Yes.
and the weather can turn on you real fast.
Yes.
Real fast.
One time driving down, when you guys were younger, we left. Right after you guys got out of school, and we had an ice storm. We hit an ice storm, and it took us about 4.5 hours. And we was like in Connecticut, the beginning of Connecticut. 6-7 hours later, we were still in Connecticut.
Yeah, and so for anyone who hasn't driven through Connecticut, Connecticut takes you about, an hour and a half to get through. Like, if it's a clear sunny day and you don't get hit with a traffic jam, you're in there in an hour and a half and you're out of Connecticut. And you're right, we were there for like 8 hours.
Yeah, finally I was like, this is it, we have to stay here the night. Your father was like, stay the night, we just left the house, you know.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, 8 hours ago.
Right, but
It's
on the,
gonna kill us to get to Connecticut.
on the flip side of that, remember that Christmas day we left? And we made it to South Carolina in one
Yes.
day? Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the up and down of driving. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Coming from New England, you got to go through like the Bronx. That can get dicey, and then you never know what's going to happen. We've been hit with tornadoes in Florida. Like,
yes, crazy.
weather
crazy.
happens.
And flying down, so it is 1,315 miles. I priced it out, and round trip with gas at $2.33, which is a little low right now. You're gonna pay $265 in gas round trip for a car. That doesn't include your hotels if you stop. Some people don't; they drive straight through. That's not
the way we usually
That's not
drive.
we right. We usually do it. We make that part of the vacation. So we're stopping on the way, seeing things, stopping in Washington D.C.,
Right.
stopping at south of the border.
South of the border.
That you see in those billboards for
At
mile after mile
least
after
100
mile.
miles. At least. Like, they really spent more on billboards for south of the border than they did on south of the border. Like,
Yeah.
they really, I thought that place was going to be Disney World in South Carolina. Like, I was
Yeah.
sure of it. It is not.
It's not. But it's something.
It's worth
right
stopping at,
now,
though.
It's worth stopping at. You have to stop because.
It's like a spectacle. Like, I mean, like, everyone stops. Like, you'll see, beat up, like, 1985 built cars in the parking lot, and then Porsches right next to it. Yeah, it's like everyone stops there. It's a tourist attraction.
It's
You gotta
a
go.
tourist trap. It is.
That's actually what it's actually a tourist trap. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to stop. You have to buy some kitschy little thing. And
Yeah, have fun with it. Get the bumper sticker. Like,
Yeah.
I went to south of the border.
Yeah.
Like,
Back in the day, I think they sold every shape ashtray there was. I mean,
it was a wild place.
Yeah.
It was a weird place to take children, but you did anyway, and
you
it was
had
fun.
to because you guys you could read. You were like, what's this south of the border? What's this sausage on the side of
Yeah.
the billboard?
Right, yeah. And it's so bright and colorful that, like, of course, kids, that's how they get you. It's like
Yeah.
the kids are going to be like, let's stop
Let's
there.
look
It's so
outside,
bright. Look at the
right.
sombrero in the air. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool.
So we're $642 for airfare right now, and $265 in gas, both round trip. You're talking 2 full days of driving,
Right,
or 6 to 7 hours of flying round trip. Keep that in mind.
right. So then there's the third way to get there, and we've done this as well, is taking a train. And we took the auto train, right?
The auto train out of Lawton, Virginia, and it goes to Sanford, Florida. Now, I priced this out. You have to drive to Washington from here. So that's
It's
8
a 10 hours.
hours.
It's a 10-hour
10
drive.
hours. And with gas, you're talking about another $89, $90 just in gas.
Yeah,
Round trip
Right.
to do that. So that's one cost. The train itself, yikes. When I priced this out, I couldn't believe it. For 4 people and your car, because it is the auto train. So what the auto train is, you drive to Virginia, you leave your car, they put your car on the train, you get on the train in either coach seats or a family car, and again, this is pre-pandemic, so I don't know what they're doing now.
oh my God.
And in the afternoon, I think it's 4:30 in the afternoon, it takes off and you're on your way to Florida. You're like, oh, this is going to be so
Right.
easy.
But
Oh my gosh.
you're on a train, like, you're stuck, and a family car is barely bigger than the car that you've been driving in.
It's
To
barely
Washington.
bigger than this desk.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
And yeah, the coach to drive coach is $1,394 round trip for family of 4.
Whoa.
Coach. So you're sitting in a chair, your kids are in a chair next to you. You know, strangers are up and down the aisle next to you, and you're driving, and it is not a smooth trip.
Yeah, it's a train track.
Yeah,
So
it's a train track. So every exchange, you're hitting that exchange.
and you hit it hard.
You're sleeping in that chair.
Right, because it's not going to take you 3 hours like a plane, right? I mean,
No,
it's
it's
hours.
overnight. You leave at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
You get there at 10 or 11 in the morning,
So it's
and then you have to wait for your car to get off. And
so yeah, it's. I mean, put that in perspective, that's more than double a flight down there right now, round trip here
well,
with family.
if you got the family car,
Right.
the family accommodations, which is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's 2 chairs and bunks. So your chairs line up like this, and the bunks line up the same way, and the 4 of you sleep that way, and it's $4,550 for the 4 of you and your car.
So 4,000.
That's a trip.
That's a trip. That's a trip to Disney. Essentially, you're paying just to get to Disney. So right off the bat, I feel like we can rule train out.
For a family of 4, yes. I mean, I understand snowbirds. We have snowbirds up here that go down to Florida and bring their car.
Right.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
Because they're there for months and months and months.
Yeah, and and that's fine. But if you're going for a week's vacation to Disney,
Oh, yeah. I mean, we did it because your father had no choice, because I was not driving back. I wasn't.
Right.
I mean,
it can be overwhelming trying to drive back, but when you look at the price difference, right, it can really be overwhelming in a monetary sense to get on that train. So you have to wonder if the train really is going to hold up against the drive and the flight.
I mean, I think even to this day, if it was between driving or getting on the train, I'd get on the train.
That's funny. So I love road trips. That's something I love to do. I love to put my music on, sing as loud as I can, have the windows down, and feel that air start to get warmer, especially in a winter time like this, where I'm coming down, and all of a sudden you start to see the leaves come back, and the snow melt, and then it's warmer. I love road trips. I've driven to Florida, I've driven to California, I've driven coast to coast both ways. And I've had a blast doing it. If you're with the right group, I would say driving could be a really fun time. Little kids,
Yeah, I was gonna say driving with 2 kids.
hard.
eh,
That's
not
hard
so
to
much.
stick them in a car
Yeah.
for 24 hours, even if you go straight
And that's
through.
why driving, you have to make the drive part of the vacation. You have to, you don't have to stop, but
I think you made a good point with Washington D.C. especially. I loved Washington D.C. I love
Yeah.
Washington D.C. I love all that history and all that architecture. And then you get like these museums, and everyone thinks, oh, museums are meh.
can I just say, sorry, about Washington? Almost everything's free there. So that's
Really?
a great place. Yes, you don't pay to get into the museums or anything like that. That's a great place to stop.
It's news to me. That's nice.
And, inexpensive. You can let the kids see things. And, again, pre-pandemic.
Right.
But
But there's a light at the end of the tunnel for that.
Right.
Like
Right.
we here at Disney, we really, we want to do our part. We want to mask up, social distance, all that stuff. But we do like to keep hope alive and say there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But Washington D.C. is a cool place to go.
cool place to go. And it's a cool place. It really is a cool place to go with kids.
And back when we were going, they used to let us tour the White House. You could
Yes.
take a tour of the White House, the
Yes.
Capitol building. And it was just an amazing city to be in.
Top of the Washington Monument.
Right, not my favorite place to be, a little high, but still really cool though. If you like that stuff and you like history, for any of you Disney Plus subscribers out there, Hamilton, Washington D.C., room where it happens.
Yeah.
Gotta get on it. So that's kind of how we broke this down, is we wanted to think of all the positives that came from each. The train, you have your car with you, you have someone else driving you.
Someone else is driving you. Someone else, they feed you on the train. You also get a meal.
Yep.
You get 2 meals. You get a dinner meal and
A breakfast, right?
a breakfast.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's not, they're not like ripping you off for the sake of ripping you off. Like, you know, you're paying for what you're getting. You get your car.
Your
you know.
car.
Anyone who's had the car towed knows it's expensive to get your car towed. They're towing it to Florida. So that's a plus for the train. Flying, you get the speed at which you get there.
That's all it
And
is.
and so far, it's cheap. It's fairly affordable.
I hate to even say this out loud, but I got tickets for January, I think. They were $18 each way.
So that's $36 round trip. There are more than a few meals in Disney, like
Yeah.
one plate of
Yeah.
food that costs more than your round trip.
I just watched something that there was a signature cocktail that was more than
That's a cocktail, guys,
Yeah.
and you know Disney isn't heavy-handed when it comes to giving you that alcohol. Like, you could drink a lot of those.
If you put some work into it, you can find some very good airfare.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really being persistent and not jumping on the first price you see. It's waiting, it's finding the days where the flights go down, and being on there every
Right.
day. If you look
Yeah.
every day, you will find
Especially Tuesdays.
Tuesdays are the best day to book flights. I don't know why that is. It's
I don't know
just
what
the
it is,
day
but
that
it
the
is.
airlines give the best deals. So, we've come to that point where we have to tell the people what is the best way to go. How
I mean,
would you
it
recommend
depends
it?
on. I think it's going to depend on where you are in your life.
Sure.
You know, me right now, I would fly.
Right, and I think that's fair, right? You want to get there, and you know, we've seen the stuff, we've done the stuff.
Right. When you and your brother were younger, we vacationed longer because it was easier. You know, you had a certain amount of time we could go. We vacationed for longer time. Now I can go for a couple of days and come back, and you know, your father and I don't need long trips. We can do several short trips throughout the year.
Right.
And
And it's worth it, and that's where those $36 round trip flights,
Yeah.
it makes it way more accessible. Driving, you have to commit to a longer vacation
Have to.
because you can't burn 2 days of a 4-day vacation on driving.
right, absolutely.
However, for someone like me, I like to, when my friends get together, we like to, you know, I've driven to college. When I was still in college, I drove to Florida because that's where I went. I went to Florida State, go Knowles. And the trips down were awesome. I was with my buddies. We blasted music and stopped at bars on the way and stopped in Times Square, and we were over 21. We, you know, we stopped in Times Square, we stopped in Washington, we stopped at south of the border, and along the way you can veer off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah.
There's
It's fun. It's fun.
It is
It
fun.
is fun. But again, like you said, coming from New England, you're
Right.
chancing it leaving in those winter months.
Yeah, and that was the issue. But like I said, I wasn't going down to Florida and I guess if I was going for a Disney trip, I agree with you that flying is it's easier.
It's easy.
If you're afraid to fly, there's ways to get around that and get yourself in the mode, especially with streaming services nowadays. Download movies to your phone, throw your headphones in, and block out the world. And that's what I do when I get on a plane. I really think that's the best way to go, and I think it really comes down to the price and the convenience of flying.
Yeah, right now the price. I mean, there's been times that
Oh yeah, they get pricey.
They get pricey. But again, I think I priced out school vacation week for New Hampshire, and
yeah, for a family of 4, it's $650.
yes,
Whereas the auto train was $4,500.
$4,500 if you want a room. If you don't, it's $1,394.
But still, so if you don't want a room, you just want to fly coach, and you're sitting in the same kind of seats you'd sit in on an airplane,
Yeah.
it's twice the price.
Yeah.
So we're not here to tell you what to do. We're just here to give you our opinion on how our family works. For us, flying is definitely the best way to go. It's the cheapest. It's the most time efficient, and you get the most vacation out of it. You're there in 3 hours, and then you don't have to
Right.
leave the park until it's time to go to the airport. It's just the way to do it.
Yeah.
So we hope that this video has been informative for you. We hope it's been helpful for you. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Go to our Instagram page. We are Diz_New England. Give us a follow there for more content and updates for new videos that are being released. We really appreciate your time and your audience. You guys have a great night, and we will see you real soon.